Is the LG Aristo 3 worth it? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin Breeze here, and if you're new to the channel, I make videos about budget smartphones. So whether you're in the market for a budget smartphone or you just enjoy watching content about the latest technology, then you're definitely going to like my channel, so make sure to subscribe. The LG Aristo 3 is a new device that's being offered by Metro by T-Mobile. It is the successor to the LG Aristo 2, which was really popular. Now, this device is currently available for free if you get a $60 plan with Metro by T-Mobile. All you have to do is pay for the tax and activation fee. But if you want to just buy this at its MSRP, you can pick this up for $139.99. Now, it is locked to Metro by T-Mobile, so you won't be able to easily switch between carriers. If you want to do that, you're going to have to buy an unlocked smartphone, and you can find tons of videos on those on my channel. So if you're going to get this device, make sure that you like Metro by T-Mobile, because you're going to have to use it for a while. Now, the device features a 5-inch display coming in at 720p. The aspect ratio of this display is 16:9, so it's kind of the standard widescreen format, which is similar to most widescreen TVs. Nowadays, though, a lot of smartphones are coming out with taller displays, such as 18:9 and even 19:9. So this is a little bit more old-fashioned in design. Another thing about this phone that's a little bit more old-fashioned and old school are the size of the bezels on here. You can see on the top and bottom, it has some pretty large bezels. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. The device still looks nice and everything, but there's just so much here, so much wasted space. It would have been great if they had some way to kind of cut this off and just make the device the size of the screen, because then it would be a nice, compact device. But it's still good in the hand, it feels good in the hand, it's nice and compact at the same time. I just really wish they would have found a better use of the space here, maybe made the display a little bit taller, even add in like a notch or something. But I suppose if they were going to do that, they wouldn't be able to offer this device at its competitive price tag. Now up top here, we have a 5-megapixel front-facing camera, and later on in the video, I'm going to do a little test of that to show you the kind of quality to expect. Now internally, this device features 16 gigabytes of storage, which isn't a whole lot, but it does feature the ability to expand that storage with a microSD card. So you can pick one of those up for pretty cheap, and you can pop that microSD card in and load movies on it, and you can also put some of your photos on there if your phone happens to get clogged up with photos and videos. So it's definitely a great feature to have. Now, there is no wireless charging with this device, but it does feature a removable battery. So you can just pop off the back here and swap your battery out with a different one if you choose to. Of course, you'll have to go and buy that battery, but it is definitely a cool thing to have and kind of a cool option, because a lot of phones nowadays don't have removable batteries. So if you're going on a long hike or something, or you're going to be gone for a while and not near an outlet, just putting an extra battery in your bag and popping it in when this is about to run dead is a great way to continue to use the phone. Now, also on the back side here, we have the rear-facing camera, which is 13 megapixels. Now, there is no fingerprint sensor. I know the button on the back here looks like a fingerprint sensor, but it's actually just the power button. We also have an LED flash here. Now, the device features 2 gigabytes of RAM, which isn't really anything too special. I know a lot of people were hoping that this would have at least 3, maybe even 4 gigabytes of RAM, but we are stuck with 2 gigabytes. Now, it's good enough to kind of get you through the normal day-to-day tasks with the device, but when it comes to multitasking and gaming and doing different things like that, or going on Facebook or even browsing the web, you do kind of get to notice after a while the disadvantages of this device only having 2 gigs of RAM. But like I said, it's still usable, so I wouldn't let it scare you away from buying the device. Now, the LG Aristo 3 features the Qualcomm Snapdragon 425 processor, which is actually kind of a nice surprise here. A lot of devices in this price range feature MediaTek processors, which generally are not as good as Qualcomm processors. Now, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 425 processor is kind of not the latest and greatest. There's newer processors out, such as the Qualcomm Snapdragon 435. But the 425 is still good. You're going to be able to do a lot of things like light gaming on here and watching videos with no issues at all. Now, the device records video at a maximum resolution of 1080p at 30 frames per second. We also get a battery life capacity of 2500 milliamp hours, which isn't the best that I've seen out there, but certainly not the worst by any means. And like I mentioned before, you can always swap out the battery with a different one if you choose to, so it's great to have that option. And really, the 2500 milliamp hour capacity in itself is still impressive. Now, the software on here is Android 8.1 Oreo, And that's not the latest version of Android. The newest version of Android is Pie, but it's still a pretty new version of Android, and hopefully down the road we will see an update to Pie. Now, LG does have kind of their own skin on here, and you'll definitely notice that in the settings. It's kind of just their way of doing things, and I don't think it's a big deal because LG does a great job with software optimization, especially considering this is a budget device. But I definitely would have preferred to see stock Android on here, but still, I mean, having LG skin on the software isn't the worst thing ever. So we already kind of went over some of the hardware. So like I mentioned before, the device has a 720p display here. Now the resolution of the display, while not being the best out there because of course 1080p or higher is better, it's still a good display. I mean, things look nice and clear, colors are good, even text looks crisp. So you're not going to run into problems browsing the web or watching videos on here. And considering that this display is a bit smaller at 5 inches, that means that the 720p resolution is kind of squeezed in a little bit more, which makes it a bit more sharper. I mean, keep in mind, there's other phones like the iPhone XR that are also 720p. So 720p certainly isn't a terrible thing, but it's also not the best out there. But on the other hand, having a 720p display puts less strain on the processor, which means that this is going to run quicker. And also you're going to get better battery life with the 720p display. So it certainly has its slew of advantages. Now this whole body here is all made out of plastic. So you can see, it's plastic here on the back, plastic on the sides. That's not a terrible thing though, because this does feel like pretty good quality. I mean, it's not metal by any means or glass, but still it feels solid. Definitely feels like if I would drop this phone, it wouldn't break or anything. So that's great. And the material on the back, it does pick up some fingerprints, but it's not terrible for that. So that's another surprise. Now on the left side here with the volume buttons, on the right side there is nothing except for a little place where you can grab on and pull off the back of the phone. On the top we have the noise canceling microphone, and on the bottom we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, the micro USB port, and the microphone. So this doesn't have USB-C, which is kind of the newest and latest port that you find on a lot of phones. But at least the good thing with this having micro USB is that you'll be able to use probably a lot of chargers that you already own. And again, on the back side, we have the speaker here, we have the 13 megapixel camera, we have the flash, and we have the power button. It's kind of weird that they put the power button on the back here, but it's not overly inconvenient either. Another cool thing is that if you add the facial recognition to this device, which is what I did, you can actually unlock the device just by looking at it, and you don't even have to tap on this button on the back. So that's a really cool thing to see. Let's now take some photos here. So we'll pull out the camera here. Now there is a front-facing portrait, which is cool to see. So it's kind of a bokeh mode effect. Not really too impressive, I guess, but still kind of cool to see at the same time. You can see there. We'll take a look here at the photo. And it is pretty blurry. I mean, taking photos inside probably isn't the best thing with this phone. So taking outdoor photos would be better. Now let me know if you want me to do a comprehensive camera review of this device, as I'll go outside, go to a local park, and take a bunch of photos. But let's flip around and take some photos of this little plant here. And honestly, this camera is performing pretty well considering that we're shooting in indoor conditions here. So you can see that you can definitely pick up some of the detail of this plant. Now, of course, I have professional lighting here in my office. But still, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. I've used phones in this price range that don't have nearly as good of quality for photo and video. You can see that the video is pretty smooth here. Let's replay that. Photo and video. You can see that the video is pretty smooth here. So that's pretty nice. Again, I think I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm not even going to wait for you guys to tell me whether you want me to or not. But I'll do a dedicated camera test video with this device. Now, emojis are pretty important for a lot of people because it's a growing way of communicating, for the better or worse. And these are the emojis that you're going to find with the LG Aristo 3. So they're kind of the newer Android Oreo style emojis. So definitely an upgrade from the blobs that we saw in earlier versions of Android, but also still a little bit different from the style that you'll find with iOS. So those are all the emojis. So I don't know if there's any here missing. I can't really tell. It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like there's quite a few here. So I'd imagine most of your favorite emojis are going to be here on the device. Now I can do a dedicated video where I go through each emoji if you want me to. Just let me know down in the comment section below. Now let's go to the YouTube app and play some videos. 8 megapixels, and a 16 megapixel front-facing camera. There's also a 5150 milliamp hour internal battery. What makes the Umdigi F1 unique is that it features a lot of high-end specifications and a cheap price. So the video playback is not bad on this device. I really like how, since this is a 16:9 aspect ratio display, the video does fill up the entire display, and that's something I have not seen with a new phone in a long time, since all these newer phones have taller displays. Now, playback was super smooth, so that was good to see. It does max out at 720p, but that's also the maximum resolution of the display anyway. And also I had the speakers at full blast, and it actually sounded pretty good. Of course, not as good as how it sounds on the iPhone, but still, the speaker quality was nice, and overall, it's definitely viewable and usable. Let's now take a look and see what's included in the box for the LG Aristo 3. Now this is of course the box itself. We have Metro by T-Mobile branding here on the bottom, some more Metro by T-Mobile branding on the side. So we'll open this on up, see what's included. So we get a quick start guide for the Aristo 3. We get a micro USB cord, and we get the wall adapter. So not a whole lot here in the box, but just kind of the bare essentials. So is the LG Aristo 3 worth it? Well, I don't think it's a terrible option, that's for sure. I mean, if you're going to choose between the different devices that are being offered right now by Metro by T-Mobile for a port-in, then I definitely think this is a good option for you. There's definitely some disadvantages about this device, such as it having only 2 gigabytes of RAM, and also kind of having this old school design with large bezels on the top and bottom. But if you're looking for something simple that just works, then I definitely don't think this is a bad option for you. And again, if you are switching over to Metro by T-Mobile and you're able to get this for free, then that's definitely an amazing deal. I don't know if I would necessarily pay $139.99 out of pocket for this, because you can buy unlocked devices that you can just bring over to Metro by T-Mobile, and those devices are about the same price, but they're a lot better. One of my favorite unlocked smartphones is the blue Vivo XL4. I will be leaving a link in the video description for that. You can check that out. Now that's $150, but you can take that over to Metro by T-Mobile, just stick in your SIM card and you're good to go. But basically, once you buy that device, all you need is an activated SIM card for Metro by T-Mobile, and you put it in the device and you're good to go. But the thing is, of course, with unlocked smartphones, you're not going to get them for free in exchange for a port-in deal. So if you want that deal and you want to get a free phone, then you're going to have to go the route of the Aristo 3 or several of the other devices that are offered by Metro by T-Mobile for that deal. So I want to know what you think of the LG Aristo 3. Do you like it? Can you see yourself using this on a daily basis? Do you already own this device? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then give it a like. Check out my other videos on my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.